With the start of the new year, I can say that I've been following financial markets professionally for more than 30 years now. And I think I'm probably one of the few analysts that chose a tool of market analysis early in their career and have stuck with it over their entire career. For me, that's been the wave principle. And the reason for that is I see the wave principle as a roadmap to where the market is going. And if you can locate where you are on that roadmap, then you have an idea of what lies ahead. Let me show you an example of that. As you can see in this daily chart, the euro has been advancing relative to the US dollar for just about 9 months now, since March 2020. During this time, the trend is obvious to anyone. It's to the upside. And one could say that a trend in motion should remain in motion. And for the most part, that might be true. But they also come to an end. And the wave principle helps me not only identify the twists and turns along the way in the trend, but then often warn me when that trend is coming to an end. The wave principle suggests that when a market is trending, like we've seen here, that it should unfold in 5 waves. We call that an impulsive advance. In this case, I can count 5 waves with wave 1, 2, 3. Wave 3 is usually the strongest of the upward waves, a correction in wave 4, and finally a rally in wave 5. So the question is, how far will wave 5 go before it ends? Well, there's some other tools that we can use, some observations we might be able to make that'll help us determine when a market's at a trading point, in this case, euro dollar. In Frost and Prechter's Elliott Wave Principle, Key to Market Behavior, they stated that during advancing fifth waves, optimism runs extremely high. Why wouldn't it? As you can see, towards the end of the year, the euro broke out to a new high. Follow the trend. It's that easy. Well, this is where I bring in a couple other tools. The first is I like to look at momentum. I tend to look at a simple RSI, but I think it would work with almost any momentum indicator. And I like to look at momentum during that fifth wave. So if you compare it here, you can see that RSI did rise during the fifth wave, but it wasn't as strong as during the third wave. And that's a tip-off that this is indeed a fifth and final wave in a larger rally sequence. And as price reached a new high during wave 5, momentum failed to follow through. This is a divergence, and it's a warning. It's not a signal that the rally's at an end, but it's a warning that it's weakening. And that's what you would expect as a trend nears its end. It first has to weaken before it turns. But towards the end of 2020, we saw something else develop. We saw that the press started to pick up on the rally that had been underway, as I said earlier, for almost 9 months. They were a little late to the party. And that made me think I should look at what some other indicators are saying about market sentiment. In this case, I looked at DSI and noticed that it's in overbought territory, above 80. This happened previously, in just a few months before, towards the end of wave 3. So we see once again that sentiment is in the danger zone. Another warning. But I mentioned the press is picking up on the story. Normally they just talk about a simple statement during the day, the dollar's higher or weaker. But they've been running more stories about the dollar and how that might affect equity trading. And then we saw that coverage move over to the financial press. Bloomberg published an article that included this chart. That suggests that speculative traders have put on their largest bearish bets since 2011. So in the last decade, specs haven't been this bearish. Well, all this adds up. The price patterns, the sentiment, the waning momentum to suggest that euro dollar might be at an important inflection point. And this is what we talk about each and every day in the Currency Pros service. We try to guide our readers through the twists and turns of the market, and we'll always continue to do so.